There you go. You found the other button.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very useful button. There's a couple of buttons on the camera. Sometimes the handle's not really the best button, and there's an easier button, and you found it. Feel free to get creative in the camera angles, but it is all about me. Being a director or being a cameraman is a great job. I've seen birth of killer whales. I've seen open heart surgery. I've met 3 presidents. I've been to the top of Mount Iwo Jima. I have been to 35 different countries as a cinematographer. It is a great way to experience life, and the director is the same way. You know, it's like this is a wonderful world, and in that job, for sure, you can be paid to really see it, and see it like no one has ever seen it. There could be people in the Amazon, for 10 years they've been looking for a tomb. They find the tomb, they open the tomb, and they stop. They get on the phone, and they call the director and the cameraman up, and they say, you have to get down here to Bolivia. We just found this tomb, and we don't want to go in until the camera crew's here. What I like is for the director, myself, and the crew to block the scene a little bit before the cast shows up, which usually happens because the cast is usually in makeup. So the director may go, the 2 actors will be sitting right here, and we're going to have a big wide shot here. It's going to be a steady cam shot. I'm going to go in on them, and then we're going to go to the door and bring someone else in, you know? Now, that helps us kind of be a little aware of what's going to happen. But if you want good performances, you can't just tell the actors to sit there. 50% of the actors will be happy to just sit there and do their lines. 50% want to find the scene. And directors, I would recommend giving the cast that respect to let them find the scene. Shot lists are very useful for lots of reasons. It lets you get your thinking. It's your first step to getting your thinking going. We had a shot. It's a wide shot, everyone's here. And then there's a single here and a single there, and then a steady cam shot from the doors. What I do is, in my notes, I draw the room. I draw the door. I draw the desks. I'll do this on the scout. So I'd have one person here, one person there. Camera angle here, camera angle here, camera angle here. That's what I do. I think cinematography or filmmaking is more like a football game. You know, if you look at the guys, the coaches, or soccer, they're looking at a play like this. It's not written out. Guy 32 runs downfield and catches an amazing football. You know, it's written like that. Now, after I do that, I do shot listing, like I did. Master, see you, pull back. This is what my notes look like when I direct and also when I shoot. Now, when I shoot, I just follow the director's lead. So I'll have my floor plan, and as the director's talking about the shots, I'm writing them all down. One of the reasons I'm writing them down is the director may go, and then there's a shot here, shot 5, of this guy comes over here. It starts to get a little complicated, right? But if you look at it as a floor plan, you realize that shot 3 and shot 5 are sort of similar. So you can start thinking about combining it. It's a much more efficient way, and then I just go, check, 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 done. Whenever you're doing a film with visual effects, you've got to storyboard it, because there's a lot of specific communication that has to happen between the visual effects and the director and the DP before you shoot it. It's amazing, because up to not having these drawings, we were just sitting in a room talking about air. Everybody has different ideas of how things might take place. By sketching it, suddenly everyone's like, no, wait a minute, no. The road's supposed to be straight. So even if I'm wrong, I bring up questions that wouldn't have been brought up until the storyboarding took place. Steven Spielberg is the key, is the guy that, every Spielberg shot is really thought out. It's perfectly composed. Same thing with David Lean. Shots are really well thought out, carefully composed. Is that the film you want to make? It's a pretty cool style. It's sort of an older style, but it's really fun because it conveys your information so elegantly. Or your compositions can become what I call dynamic. which is carefully composed like the Spielberg images, but the images are very aggressive, usually wide lenses. This is deep space. See all the stuff back there? A lot of stuff, right? People and lights. Mexico, Charlton Heston. This is flat space, no depth. See the difference? Everyone must go home and watch Touch of Evil. It is a brilliant film on so many levels. But it's brilliant particularly because, you know who Orson Welles is, right? Orson Welles' career had collapsed. He couldn't get hired to wash dishes. And he got hired to do this B movie that was like the lowest budget film. Henry Mancini did the score. He only had enough money for 3 musicians to do the score of the movie. There was no money on this film. Who knows what movie this is? The Shining. The Shining does what's called one-point perspective. Who knows what perspective is? What is perspective?
I mean, like I know like an art, yeah, so it's basically like you have like your vanishing point and go there. So I mean like things in the background are going to be smaller than things in the foreground.
I couldn't have said it myself that well. Yeah, so that's one-point perspective. See the vanishing point? She mentioned vanishing point. There's your vanishing point. And also, on a set, be really careful when you're, come over here, when you're grabbing and moving people, we try to be sensitive because sometimes people are really uncomfortable about being touched. So it's important to just ask and make sure that it's okay. This is was a popular style in the 40s because they didn't used to edit as much in the 40s. So you have a scene, come talk to me. Usually in the 40s they would do this. Ready? There we go. They talk like this. You go tighter. A little tighter. There you go. No, that's too tight. There. So this was a typical scene in the 40s. Wow, that was a great mountain climbing trip, right? That's a typical scene in the 40s. Now, one of the tricks is this. When I'm talking, I'm not going to look at you. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking, you're not going to look at me. Ready? So it's like this. But you look at me when I'm not talking. When I'm talking. Ready?
Okay.
So, wow, that was a great hiking trip.
Sure was.
So that's a style that was really popular in the 40s, but you can kind of get away with it sometimes when there's not a lot of, it's not a long scene, You can also bring someone up forward. Damn, I thought that bank robbery would work. See, the great thing about it is that you have my face on camera talking and her face and you know what she's thinking. It's really rare in blocking where you can have one actor talking and get the reaction in the same shot. So it's a pretty powerful technique.